My issue with this is, and with, these load boards, whether you're talking about truck stop, DAT connect, or any of them, there needs to basically be a kill switch in there somewhere. There needs, when you go fill up at a gas station, if there's a fire, there's a button you can run over and hit, and it just shuts down the pumps. Well, when we made them aware of this, gave them username, password, admin information, said we were willing to lock down our entire system where we couldn't do any business, because it was so important for us to make sure that carriers aren't getting scammed out there. And to watch this unfold hour after hour,
What was their main words? I remember when you were telling me about this, what was the person's exact words?
It's not a top priority. And so when when that was said, I damn near lost my, well, why didn't y'all just cancel out the account? So what happened was when these hackers acquired this information, they basically blocked us from being able to cancel our own account. Now, we can go in.
What's going on, Mutha Truckers? This is a Mayday warning. I have a trucking friend, CEO, president, and of a trucking company, and he's telling me that recently he went on DAT. He found out that his account got hacked, and he told them right at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it took more than 8 hours to fix because someone, I'm not saying DAT, I'm saying check your employees' DAT, because someone at DAT said double brokering is not their top priority. The big advice from this whole podcast, if you don't have time, if you get that packet from them, before you actually drive, put fuel in your truck, make sure you go on the FMCSA, make sure that the emails, the phone numbers, give them a call. Make sure it's the right people. Because it looks like a lot of accounts are getting hacked on DAT. It might be on DAT. It might be on truck stop. It might be on all the load boards. Make sure phone numbers and emails match, because double brokering is happening near you.
Would you say pretty much the topic that we're talking about today is you 100% found out that someone is frauding your company? This could cost you your reputation, and you caught them. You reach out to DAT, and literally it almost feels like they want to do nothing about it. Is that about right?
That's it. And maybe it just wasn't a priority for them.
Gotcha.
It just didn't seem like high on their list of things to do. And here's the thing: is because of the scam they were running, ultimately it was going to affect our reputation, but monetarily, it wasn't going to probably hurt us a whole lot. But what I was most nervous for was all the drivers and small carriers out there that was going to be racking up thousands of dollars in cost hauling this freight that they're never going to get paid for. I know they're not going to get paid for it. And it was like I was watching people being victimized right before my eyes. But because it's over a computer, I couldn't come and to their rescue. And so,
man, I tell you, that's where we start the topic right there. For people that don't know, all the Mutha Truckers watching the Mutha Trucker News podcast, I'm telling you guys right now, we have Jason Decker, General Transportation, but he's a good friend as well. And pretty much you email me, actually you text me the other day and say, man, I got a bone to pick with DAT, and so I would say this, in the past, they wanted to do some business with me, and this might ruin any sponsorship I might ever have. And I don't care, because we need to set things right, So before we start anything, Jason, what the heck have you been up to, man? For people that haven't seen, we've done part 1, 2, 3. You're big on double brokering. You run a trucking company. You have a trucking brokerage. I mean, you're in the trucking circle. What are you up to, brother?
Absolutely. Well, like you said, I'm second generation. This is pretty much all I know. My family's done transportation my entire life. My parents did it before I was even around. So like I said, we have a brokerage, we have an asset company, we have an independent shop, we have a chrome shop as well, chrome accessories, stuff like that. Our latest gig is we've launched a fuel card for your small and medium-sized carriers that is saving people lots of money. So that is something we're extremely proud of. It's we signed up a new carrier a few weeks ago. They've got 6 trucks on it, and they reached out to us the other day and they said, hey, we were actually going to either have to maybe lay some people off, or we were going to have to cut back on some driver wages. And this savings been big enough that we don't have to do that now. So we're very much grateful that we're able to bring this to market and help a lot of people out. So, if anyone knows, us and what we're about, not just me, but my family, we really try to do right by everyone, as much as we can. And so that's what led to this conversation, to be honest, was we've seen an injustice happening right before our eyes, and it was aggravating at the least, I guess you could say. And my biggest frustration about this is I have met with a lot of people with DAT Connect over the years. I was actually at DATCon last year. There's a lot of great people within the company. We use it on both our asset side and our brokerage side. So like I don't want to go out and basically create a hardship for ourselves between us and them. But at the same time, what happened on Monday has to be brought to light. It was a pretty bad situation. So, do you want me to just kind of jump into what happened there?
Yeah, let's jump into it. It's one of those things where, now for people that don't understand, you're very humble when when people think like, your asset side, that, for people that don't know that means that you actually have trucks and you are a trucking company as well.
Yes, sir.
And so, some people might think, you might have 1 truck, 2 truck, 3 trucks. I mean, how many trucks are under your fleet?
Between our contractors, our owner operators, company trucks and everything, I would honestly, I'd have to get with our safety and compliance to put a number on it. It's quite a few. That is something that we're very proud of. Just on the company side, I think we're up to 70 on that.
Wow.
So it's one of those things that we are growing. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm very proud of is the 15th, so I guess Tuesday,
yes.
Inc. magazine, which tracks both private and publicly held companies, launched their 5,000 fastest growing companies. We made number 1,137 out of the top 5,000. There's about 10 million plus companies in the U.S. We're number 40 in trucking and number 6 in the state of Arkansas. So I'm very proud.
There we go. Hey, hey, we'll clap for that, man. So
I appreciate it.
You're a humble guy, man. It's one of those things where, when people are like, oh, I have, some trucks, hey, having like over, what'd you say, 70 company drivers alone,
yes,
not talking about the lease operator side. So the reason why I always want people to know this is because you know what you're talking about. You might not be as big as per se, Nite Swift, but you're doing big business.
Yep.
And it's affecting your business. And a lot of times I think that's the disconnect too, is a lot of drivers might have 1 or 2 trucks and say, I don't relate with the guy that's a CEO of 6,000 trucks, right? So you're a guy that has 70 plus trucks and you're struggling with this too. So
yes.
What's
Absolutely.
going on?
And so, like I said, but that's just on our company side. Like I said, we have contractors, owner operators, so that number is significantly higher. But I know what they're talking about when they talk about it's hard to relate to or understand what they've got going on because it's such a difference. Yes, I am president of the company, but 15 minutes before I jumped on this call, I was booking a load out of North Carolina going over to Enid, Oklahoma, for one of our owner operators. So I'm still very much in the weeds on things, but I like it that way. I think it's healthy to be that way, and I'm not some big showy person. I got my ART T-shirt on.
Yeah.
It's just what you see is what you get. I'm just an old country boy.
So what happened on Monday that pissed you off, brother? What happened?
Well, so what happened is on our brokerage side, which is general transportation, one of our account managers logged into his DAT account and found a bunch of loads that were posted on DAT Connect that wasn't his loads. So he talked to several of our other account managers, went into our software, our TMS, and realized none of these loads that were posted was loads that belonged to our company. They were not our customers, not our lanes. And so we said, okay, there's a problem here. So this was about 8:30 on Monday morning. We reached out to DAT Connect within just a few minutes of finding out what was going on and said, hey, someone has hacked our account. They're posting loads. They're sending these out to, they're brokering these out to carriers under our name. It looked very legitimate. But what they were doing is in the comment section on these loads that they were posting, they would say email, the name of the person at gmail.com. Well, we don't have Gmail. We have our own, email system and everything. But if you went on the load board on DAT Connect, it looked 100% legitimate. And we were watching these loads being posted. And so our first reaction is, okay, well, let's go in there and delete these postings and get these down so carriers aren't booking them. So as we're deleting postings within this account, we see more postings going up to, replacing what we're deleting. So we're on the phone with DAT Connect saying, okay, we need to get this account shut down. Here's the username. Here's the password. Here's our admin password. Let's get this thing locked down. Stop allowing them to post these loads. It wasn't until 4 p.m., 3:30 to 4 p.m. Central Time. We first made them aware of this around 8:30 in the morning. So we're talking a good 7.5, 8 hours of loads being posted. Now, the ironic part about this is our IT department got to looking into this and said, okay, where's this coming from? So we were able to actually track down their IP address through, we'll just say a system that we have. We found that the vast majority of it was coming from Armenia, but there was also people logged into our account one was from the greater LA area and one was from Western New York. And so you had 3 different individuals, or maybe more, but at least 3 locations that was actively posting on this account. So we're in there deleting these as fast as possible as they're putting them up, but they're able to put them up faster than we can delete, because in that system, you have the ability to hit duplicate loads and you can duplicate as many as you want. So, but to delete, you can't delete in bulk. You have to delete one at a time. And so we could delete one and they could post 10. And so it was the old adage, you put out one fire, you create 2 more. Well, in this case, was we put out 1, create 10 more. And so what we did was when we realized that DAT Connect wasn't moving as fast as what we would like, so we went on the offensive. So we used our asset company to start emailing that broker and posing as different assets to book freight with them, to keep them busy with our own in-house companies versus brokering them out to other carriers. Now, we do know for a fact that they were sending these out to other carriers, because some of these carriers that they were sending these loads to or brokering loads to were carriers that we had done business with in the past, and they reached out to us and they said, hey, something feels funny about this. They went with the gut check we talked about. And something feels funny about this. Is this y'all? We said, no, it is absolutely not. So we know of 3 of our own carriers that has done business with us in the past that booked loads. So if that's 3 there, no telling how many they got, in that 7.5, 8 hour period. And so, my issue with this is, and with, these load boards, whether you're talking about Truck Stop, DAT Connect, or any of them, there needs to basically be a kill switch in there somewhere. There needs, when you go fill up at a gas station, if there's a fire, there's a button you can run over and hit, and it just shuts down the pumps. Well, when we made them aware of this, gave them username, password, admin information, said, we were willing to lock down our entire system where we couldn't do any business, because it was so important for us to make sure that carriers aren't getting scammed out there. And to watch this unfold hour after hour,
What was their main words? I remember when you were telling me about this, what was the person's exact words?
It's not a top priority. And so when so when that was said, I damn near lost my So
I'm telling you, it's one of those things where you're finding out that someone hacked into your account. At this point, I mean, what they're doing, they're double brokering.
Yes.
You see that's happening, and a person on the other end says, pretty much, it's not our top priority. So what is their top priority then?
Here's the thing: is I don't know. They didn't say, and I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at DAT Connect.
Mhm.
But I do know that one of the largest issues in the transportation industry, whether you're talking to carriers, brokers, shippers, receivers, or anyone related to the industry, they'll tell you double brokering is at the top of the list of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So to me, that should be a top priority for everyone. And my issue with this is I'm literally watching loads going up on the board, knowing that they're paying above market rates on this because they have no intentions to pay the carrier whatsoever. And watching carriers are seeing that people are calling in on this to book this freight. They're going to go haul this freight. And then here in about 30 to 45 days, they're going to find out, wait a second, I just got scammed, and that honestly, it sounds silly, but it breaks my heart because carriers, especially your 1 and 2 companies, they are struggling so bad. Every penny counts. I mean, no one's got an extra penny right now to spend on anything. And there's going to be a lot of people find out some bad information, here shortly. And so I feel like it's every one of our responsibility to make sure this doesn't happen to carriers out there. I mean, we were willing to shut down our entire operations, and you got to understand, like I said, we are a larger company. We're growing, and we were willing to shut down our entire operation, on a Monday morning, which is your busiest time of the week. And we said, hey, lock us completely out of DAT Connect. Don't let any loads get, brokered through us right now until we can get this resolved. And so when we're willing to give up everything on that, and we can't get that shut down, I was fit to be tied.
Man, that's crazy, And so at the end of the day, did they finally email you and say, we finally figured it out, or what was it?
So we got a message around 3:30, 4 o'clock Central Time that they had got everything shut down, got that account closed out. And, I've talked to people in between on that, and they said, well, why didn't y'all just cancel out the account? So what happened was when these hackers acquired this information, they basically blocked us from being able to cancel our own account. Now, we can go in and make changes, but when they have the username and password, we can't cancel out that account anymore. And so they hijacked it from us. It's just we were able to see them in there messing with our stuff. So somebody said, well, why didn't you just go in there and change the username and password? Well, we tried, but they blocked that as well. Now, the reason that they weren't able to reset it where we can put a new username and password in is because to do a reset, you'd have to send an email to us. And then at that point, we would have been able to do it. But they had blocked us from that. And so it was one of those things. It was just very frustrating to sit here and watch this transpire over the course of an entire day.
When something like this happens to you, right, Jason, it's like, do you think is happening to a lot of other people? Are people right now getting hacked and they might not even know that their loads are being double brokered? Because you watch your stuff really closely. And like you said, besides the email and a couple carriers that you guys done business for, did that gut check and gave you a call. I mean, besides a couple of those things, it pretty much looked like a legitimate load, right?
I'm telling you, it was wild. So at some point or another, that they've been able to acquire our setup pack for carriers, because when we was in there booking loads through our asset company, just trying to keep them busy, they sent us a setup pack. They sent us our own setup pack. You could overlay our setup pack and their setup pack, and it was identical. So
that's crazy.
The only thing that was different was the phone numbers. And so once again, it goes back to check with the FMCSA who you're booking with, because if you looked at that setup pack that they sent, the phone numbers were not what is with the federal motor carriers. And so that was the only way to tell on that side. Yes. Oh, yeah. They did a great job. And matter of fact, the DAT Connect, I know they're having issues with that, because recently when I've logged in there to look at freight and stuff like that, little boxes pop up and it says, shortly you will no longer be able to post email or phone number in the comments section. And I kept trying to think to myself, well, why not? That's pretty convenient. Well, as soon as this popped up and I seen that these people were using the comments section to post this fake email, it dawned on me right then and there. this has been an ongoing issue with, with them, or they wouldn't be blocking that out. So this, this isn't their first rodeo. It's just the first time I've been to their rodeo.
So at the end of the day, what do you want the American truck drivers, the American people, the drivers out here, the FMCSA, triple check the phone number. I know a lot of times you might not have a lot of, you might have to book fast, but just make sure, go on the FMCSA site, make sure that phone numbers are adding up before you do book, because it looks like people are being hacked right now, and these loads are looking really realistic, identical, legitimate.
They're doing a great job. So yes, my advice to the carrier is, if you're needing to book this thing down or lock it down fast, go ahead and do it. Get it locked down, booked down there and everything. And as soon as you receive that setup pack or that rate confirmation, at that point, you can go ahead and do your due diligence. It usually shouldn't take more than about 5 minutes to do that due diligence. And so no broker or anything that's legitimate is going to push back and say, hey, you're taking too long on this, especially if you're doing it in a few minutes. Just go on there, double check those phone numbers, double check those emails, reach out to the who's on file with the FMCSA and say, hey, is this your load? Give them the information. Please do your homework, because, it's one of those things. I know on our asset side, ART, we all the time, when we book a load with a broker and it feels maybe too good to be true or not legit, we do the gut check. And we go ahead, we run that, through FMCSA and say, okay, does it match up? No. We call them, say, do you know so-and-so? Is this your load number? Yes, it is. Several times we've asked them, no, that is not us. This is not correct.
Wow.
Yes. And so, we're booking, quite a few loads a day. I don't know what that total number is. I know between our asset side and our brokerage side, we're somewhere around 2,000 or 3,000 loads a week. And so, we're getting to see a real wide variety of scams that are going on. And I'm telling you, this one, it's tough because they look so authentic.
So, I'm trying to think out loud, what's my title of this one? Trucking company, DAT account gets hacked. That's a
good question.
What's the title of this one? Because that's kind of what happened, right? You got hacked, figured it out real quick, and it still took 8 hours because for some reason, whoever worked for DAT says it wasn't their top priority to get this fixed. And for 8 hours, they were booking loads under your account. And carriers, they could have been scammed out of, thousands of dollars for, taking on these loads. So.
Well, I can tell you what my next 30 to 45 days looks like. So here in about, like I said, 30 days, we'll start getting a lot of phone calls from carriers saying, hey, I booked this load with y'all. It picked up in Johnstown, New York, and went to Kissimmee, Florida, and, paid me this. Why haven't y'all paid me? And then that's when we have to say, hey, I'm sorry. That was a double broker load. It's not our customer. It's not our company. You need to reach out to that shipper and receiver and figure out who that load belonged to. But remember, the big thing to remember in this, guys, is if you hauled the load, and you can prove you hauled the load, then that shipper or receiver, whoever the product belongs to, is responsible to making sure you get paid. So stay after it, and find out who they actually gave that load to. Find out what broker, we won't say any names of other brokers, but say who did y'all tender this load to, and whether it was a small brokerage or a large brokerage. Find out who it was, and call that brokerage, and either that brokerage or the shipper or receiver is responsible for paying you.
No, I appreciate that. No, thanks for being on the show, Jason. I think I'm just going to let people know, fair warning, a trucking company, DAT account got hacked, and, it's one of those things where they tried their best to shut it down as fast as possible, and it didn't seem like it was DAT's main priority. And so when you're booking a load through DAT, make sure when you get that packet, make sure all the emails and phone numbers match what's on the FMCSA, because if you're not, you're basically going to run that load potentially for free.
Yep, absolutely. So, and if y'all have any questions or concerns, reach out to us. We'll help you out however you can and point you in the right direction.
Yeah. No, thanks. No, you're the best, brother.